So what is going on, guys? I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another Zombies Q&A on the channel, the series where I take your questions from the comment section below to do the zombie storyline, Easter eggs, and I answer them. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, you know what to do. Drop a like rating, leave any questions that you have in the comment section below. But let's get into it. Here we go and enjoy. So the first question of the day from Luigi69 says, please answer. Hey BOA, in the Origins ending cutscene, it shows Samantha and Eddie playing zombies, but with toys. Does that mean that zombies is literally a game? Also, when Richtofen and Samantha switch bodies, does that mean that Samantha now has the Canorium's knowledge? Love your vids. So believe it or not, I see a ton of questions like this. A lot of people seem to still get confused by the Origins ending. The two most common questions are either, did it mean that the zombie storyline was a game in the heads of these two children, Samantha and Eddie? Or the other question is usually, why is a certain item in that room, such as the mystery box or a chalk drawing of a weapon on the wall? In this question you're asking, because Samantha and Eddie are playing a game of zombies with toys in the room, does that mean that zombies is literally a game? And the answer is no. That's what we all thought when the cutscene was first found, but then when BO3 released, we realised that wasn't the case. The reason why we see Samantha and Eddie with all of these zombie toys in their bedroom is because they were given them by Dr. Monty. We know that the cutscene takes place after the Origins Easter egg, where Monty brings Maxis and Samantha to the house. Eddie had already been brought here previously by Richtofen, and so just to make them happy, Dr. Monty brought the children toys. And it seems like everything he brought them is also a real thing, which makes me question, did Dr. Monty make the toys himself? Surely he must have done if we've got our premise characters, Brutus, zombies from different maps. You can see on the walls of his house are different posters. One of them is from Mob of the Dead. Like I said earlier, there is a chalk drawing of a weapon on the wall, a knockoff mystery box, a toy of the giant robots, a Juggernog perk bottle. All of these things from our zombies universe are also toys that the children are playing with, so I can only imagine they were created by Dr. Monty and he gave them to them to play with. A little bit weird, I guess, playing a toy game of characters that you actually know in real life. But yeah, the cutscene doesn't mean we are just playing in the heads of these two children. These are actual toys in the house given to them by Dr. Monty. The next question from Crazy Things says, BOA, why do the zombies chase the monkey bombs? So apart from what we see in game, we don't know much about them. We know that they were created by Richtofen. The only bit of real information we have about them you can find in the VBush files, which is this, and you can see it says, servant entry B70326, Ludwig Maxis, personal file. Edward has grown impatient. He insists on accelerating our projects, regardless of the fact that the 115 is limited. He grows angry, short. It was a mistake to invite him. He cannot be trusted. He watches me, he watches Samantha. He watches Sophia and his latest creation, the monkey. It screams when set aflame. Then again, perhaps it is the 115 affecting my mind. I can no longer discern. So the monkey bomb was created by Richtofen back in the 1940s. We know he also gave it as a gift to Samantha. As Maxis says in his personal file, it screams when you set it aflame, which is a reference to the Easter egg in Derice where you throw it into the furnace. The monkey bomb does seem to have a personality because whenever you throw it, it will say different quotes, most of the time talking about Sam, probably because it was a gift to her, but that doesn't tell us why the zombies are attracted to it. We really don't know. It could be the sound it makes, the symbols. How is the monkey seemingly alive? Is that to do with 115? And if so, is it the 115 that the zombies are attracted to? It's just a question that we don't have a solid answer to. We can come up with theories, but let me know your best guesses in the comment section below. The next question of the day says, in Grief, why are there CIA and CDC agents in Buried? So the game mode Grief is available on 4 different maps. These are Town, Farm, Buried and Mob of the Dead. However, on Mob, the name of the mode is actually changed, where it is called Cell Block, and the same goes for Buried. It isn't called Grief on this map, it is called Borough. That is the only difference, so the gameplay stays the same. You play as the CIA and the CDC on Town, Farm and Buried, and on Mob you play as prisoners versus guards. 3 out of these 4 maps seem to have a good explanation as to why these factions are here. The CIA and the CDC visited Town and Farm because there was an outbreak going on. It is the CDC's job to investigate that since they are the centre of disease control. It's the same for Mob of the Dead. We play as guards and prisoners because, well, it's a prison. But Buried is a little bit different. It is a hidden underground location in Angola. As far as we knew, besides from the people that used to live here, the only other characters that discovered this place was the transit crew, yet in grief, the CIA and the CDC are here. At what point does Borough take place? Is it before or after the events of Buried? Surely it can't be after, because we know 19 days after Buried happened, after the transit crew go here, Maxis destroys the Earth. Then again, the transit crew didn't die here. In that 19-day time period after Buried, Victus was still here, so surely the CDC and the CIA would have come across them. So maybe it takes place before Buried then, but to that I would say Leroy isn't in the map. If you go over to the jail cell, it is closed, but Leroy isn't inside, or Arthur, whatever you guys want to call him. So where is he? Obviously he isn't needed on Grief because all of the barriers are open, but you would still think storyline wise he would be in his cell, but he isn't. Usually the zombies don't turn up to a location until one of our main characters gets there, meaning before Victus got to Buried, the zombies wouldn't have been there. But if we listen to the radios that you can find in Tag der Toten, Jebediah Brown says when the old mining town was transported to Angola in 1885, zombies started to appear and killed all of the townsfolk, including Jeb. These weren't main characters, yet the zombies turned up, so perhaps the zombies were here before Victus arrived at Buried. That would have been the only reason for the CIA and the CDC turning up here. They're not going to come if there's no zombies. And my other question would be, how did they even discover this place? As far as we knew, no one besides from the people that lived here and Victus, obviously Maxis and Richtofen as well, knew of its existence. The next question from Dan Knight says, "Hey BOA, I'm excited for Cold War, but in your previous video you mentioned Japan, yet we never got a slide for it. Do you know why?" So yes, if you didn't see my Black Ops Cold War video the other day, where the crates were opened and after solving a few Easter eggs, we discovered the teaser site for the game, which, by the way, August the 14th, part 2 of that hunt starts. We are going to be getting some new information, so make sure you are tuning into the channel then. But if you didn't watch that video, you might be a little bit confused by this. If you did though, I mentioned 4 different locations. We have London up the top right, we then have Paris, New York and Moscow. In the map summit, which was essential for solving these Easter eggs, we saw 5 different clocks: Paris, Moscow, New York and London. However, the 5th one, Tokyo, wasn't one of the locations that we saw on the slide. So we all thought, okay, either one of the YouTubers who received a crate hasn't posted the image of Tokyo online yet, or it just doesn't exist. And well, after I made that video and it was published, Treyarch then updated BO4, where if you go to the menu, the message of the day is number 5, Tokyo. So yes, Tokyo is now also one of the locations for Cold War. Like I said, if you haven't seen that video or you're confused by this, go and check it out. But on August the 14th, we're going to be getting more information, so stay tuned then. The next question of the day from the Clean One says, "Hey BOA, how are you? Question, who leaves the parts found in the maps? Why are they there?" So by parts, I'm assuming you mean buildables. If I go through all of them, or well, most of them, there's quite a lot. In transit, we have things such as the turbine, the zombie shield, the mower turret, the electric trap. The wonder weapon on that map was a buildable, the Thrusterdyne Aeronautics Model 23. You could also build the Pack-a-Punch machine and parts for the bus. On Die Rise we had things such as the trample steam, again the wonder weapon was buildable, the Sliquifier, and the nav table you have to build. On Mob we had the shield, the acid gat, the plane, all buildable parts. On the map I've just spoken about, Buried, there is the head chopper, the subsurface resonator, the staffs, the Maxis drone, the shield are all buildables on Origins. And then we get on to BO3, we have the rocket shield, the Apothicon servant, the Ragnaroks, the KT4, the list goes on and on, but it seems like most of the buildables or parts are just pieces of scrap that we find lying around. So who left them here? No one. I just think they're pieces of trash that are lying around the maps. Since this is a post-apocalyptic wasteland after the rockets hit Earth, at least on BO2, this is just all junk lying around. Besides from a few exceptions such as the Pack-a-Punch machine, that one's a different story, but the Sliquifier and the jet gun are just pieces of trash. And when I say that about the jet gun, I actually mean it. But yeah, most of the buildable parts are just pieces of scrap. I don't think they're left by anyone. And when we're talking about things such as the Ragnaroks or the KT4, obviously these were left lying around by whoever built them. It's hard to give you one answer because there's so many parts, but most of these items weren't put here by anyone, and if they were, it is to do with Group 935 or Division 9, something like that. I don't think it has anything to do with Dr. Monty. So guys, there we go, that is it, that is all I have for you for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, you know what to do. Drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. Leave any questions you have in the comment section below, and as always, we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you, and until then, goodbye.